Specters of the Machine is a FNAF fan game published on October 31st of 2022 on the Scratch website. This game was a collaboration between 6 people, among there being some pretty prominent FNAF Scratch developers. This was made for the Ender's FNAF Scratch Hub's Halloween Jam. I remember this game pretty fondly, so let's take a look at how it holds up today. The opening newspaper tells you what you need to know. The newspaper describes needing a night guard from September 27th to October 31st, which is quite a long stretch of time for a game with 5 nights. I don't know if this is a mistake or what. The next scene opens on our car and we talk to a previous night guard named Dave. We'll get into detail later. Dave also said he'd call us after work, which he actually forgets to do, funnily enough. Night 1 actually starts with us getting a call from the lead engineer of the company. Mostly it's just a lot of yapping with some FNAF Simulator music in the background. You learn that you have to keep the conveyor running if you want to progress the night. The building also has a faulty generator that you need to reset from time to time, otherwise it'll just shut off. You can reset it after it shuts off. There'll be a character that keeps you on your toes if that happens. But I'll talk about that later. I must say the office and the camera environments are really well made, especially for 2022 standards of FNAF Scratch. It's a factory, but it has more personality than most FNAF fan games that have a factory environment. Conveyor really adds a lot to this environment as well. It brings home the factory setting nicely. Honestly, this night is pretty quick, but there are a few foes running around. The Scarecrow shows up in your office window. You'll know he's there because of the sirens and his iconic laugh. Just flash him and he'll bug off. I honestly love his character. It's quite intimidating and charming. It's also this guy, the intruder. He's not important yet. Something to mention is that the cameras change with this knob, which I like a lot. Something else is that you have to move the cameras around sometimes to see certain characters. Unfortunately, it's slow as piss to use. If it was like twice or 3 times as fast, it'd be much better. Back to the office, you have to use the conveyor in order to progress the night. It fills up a meter over time, but there are harmful objects that will hurt your progress if they go through, like screws and bad parts. You can remove them by just pressing E on them, and that also helps progression, I'm pretty sure. Overall, night 1 is pretty quick. Something that's pretty unique about this game, and it's kind of like Pizzeria Simulator, is after every shift you get a paycheck, and you get to spend it however you'd like in the company catalog. Before each night you need to buy a new animatronic, but you can spend the rest of it on a new flashlight or a new lever if you want. Upgrading the flashlight makes it better, but the levers are just cosmetic. The flashlight only deals with the Scarecrow and what you see during a power outage, and the lever is what you use to reset the power. Upgrading the flashlight isn't entirely necessary, but I'd recommend buying the Light 3.0 just in case. It's pretty cheap and it'll last you the whole game. The only animatronic you can buy in this night is Electric Hand, and that'll be the night 2 threat. On drive to the factory, we call Dave, and we talk about how we're in charge of the company funds for some reason. Even Dave is surprised about this, funnily enough. He goes on to talk about some killer that seeks out Halloween type locations and that we should be on the lookout for that. Kinda weird because the intruder was already kicking a little bit on night 1, but alright. Night 2 is pretty much the same. The hand is a new threat, and you can actually only hear them on the cameras with this rattling sound. They only kill you if you take too long with bringing the power back though, so this is kind of useless. After some more conveyor shenanigans, we take home a brisk $45. You could actually buy any of these characters if you didn't buy a flashlight on night 1, but it's best to just buy the bat anyway. He walks around the factory until he gets to the room behind you, at which point you'll know by his breathing and the siren going off. Just turn off the conveyor and he'll run away. The reasoning behind this is that he uses the echolocation to hear you, so once you turn it off then he just can't hear you anymore. I couldn't tell you why this is necessary for a Halloween animatronic to have, but it's just pretty funny to me. Regardless, I really like his design. It looks amazing in general, and he's very intimidating, especially for a 2022 FNAF Scratch model. The animation when he's behind you is also pretty cool. Moving on to night 4, Dave mentions that the company's been making some kind of secret animatronic, and I'm sure that's not foreshadowing anything at all. Dave sometimes lets us know how to deal with some characters during the actual shift, and he does that here. The Raving animatronic is next and is the second easiest character to deal with, only topped by the Electric Hand. It will mess with the conveyor, but if you turn it back on, it'll leave. Pretty simple. This character can't even jump scare you, so it's honestly the most disappointing of the characters, but it's probably due to time constraints if I had to guess. Overall though, this gameplay is pretty simple and enjoyable. You need to make sure to go to the conveyor often throughout the game, in order to pick all the bad stuff off the conveyors is pretty engaging. It's also best to reset the power from time to time, that way you're not caught out in a bad situation with all the power turned off. When the power is off, the conveyor doesn't run, and if you take too long, then... Anyway, heading into night 5, we call Dave, but he actually doesn't pick up. Turns out he's fine. He lets us in on the last character we bought, the Black Cat animatronic. It works like Freddy in FNAF 1, where you just watch on the cameras while permanently progress towards your office. Pretty simple mechanic, but it works pretty well in this game. For reference, you actually take this right path in order to loop around. The manager actually calls us on this night instead of the head engineer, and he tells us they had to let go of the executive supervisor because he was trying to leak secret documents about the factory. He also says that they have some kind of celebration set up for our final shift. Yep, I'm sure it's gonna end well for us. The cat actually isn't much of an issue on the final night, but the intruder from night 1 is. He was never a threat until this night happened, because this is how he works. He'll approach your office, the hand and bat scare him, push him back by using the factory machinery noises on the bat to move him. I assume that it meant to use this camera monitor doohickey on the left, but I honestly don't understand it and I don't think it does anything. I went after a few tries by getting lucky, watching the cat constantly and focusing on the objective, just like every other night. Make sure to reset the power often because it will show yellow when it's close to being shut off. That way you won't get caught with your pants down. Once the objective is done, we actually stay in the office. After a bit, you'll hear something. Check the cameras, you'll see this. And that's how it ends. Honestly, it's pretty funny. All the characters in this game are pretty fun and charming. They add a lot to what would ordinarily be a run-of-the-mill factory game with basic characters. Each enemy is visually very unique and have some really neat animations. Well, aside from the Raven, but still. The Halloween theme overall really elevates this game as a result. The death screens are pretty cool, showing your last moment as the character who killed you. Adds a lot of characters to the game in my opinion. The game also features some extras content, which is pretty impressive for a game jam game. There's behind the scenes stuff, some stories about development, and there's even a whole epilogue. You can read it here if you like. Overall, this is a pretty neat FNAF scratch game from 2022 that even holds up to a degree in the current day. It really sticks out because of its theming and its characters, and task-based gameplay allows for the player to play at their own pace. The intruder is the only mechanic that really sucks and is weirdly complicated, but I see the vision. I would say this game lies among games like One Night at Sesame Street Plus, Five Nights with the Boys, and 12/25/89. Maybe even Five Nights at Freddy's 2. I need to go back and make a retrospective on that game. So that wraps things up for this retrospective. Make sure to follow my own FNAF game in the description. It's about Bigfoot and other cryptids, and it's nearly finished, so make sure to keep an eye out. See ya.